Hello, party people. Welcome to another edition of Sportsbook Confidential. My name is John Sullivan, and I'm coming to you live from the FingerLakes1.com studios in Seneca Falls, New York. And this little show here is to help you learn and grow as a sports bettor. And what a great weekend to be a sports bettor. It's the Super Bowl LV, the Chiefs at the Bucs. Interestingly enough, the two favorites, you could say, for the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year, the Chiefs were the sportsbook odds favorite to win the Super Bowl, and the Buccaneers were the team that had the most money put on them to win the Super Bowl preseason. So the public thought Tampa Bay was going to win it all. The sportsbook thought the Chiefs are going to win it all. One of them is going to be right. So today, we're just going to talk about the Super Bowl, the matchup. We're going to go through my usual routine, and I'm going to examine some prop bets that I talked about last week and the ones I like, and then I will give you my plays for the big game on Sunday. So before we do that, let's do what we always do and update my bankroll, and it's super easy this week because I had 0 plays last week. Starting bankroll $382, new bankroll $382, and dividing by 30 as we always do, it makes our bet size $13 going forward because we're trying to be selective sports bettors and not place too many wagers. I do want to say our count for the football season is plus 14 for those of you that follow that stat. So I don't know if we're going to beat the count. I probably not, because this game the line's been out for 2 weeks and it's had plenty of time to mature. And when you see my picks, you'll know why I probably won't beat the closing line. So, but we'll talk about that. Also, I do want to say before we get into football that there's a big mess going on with COVID in the NHL right now, especially involving the New York teams, Buffalo and the 3 New York City teams. And big mess. I don't know if that's going to disrupt the season or not, but I certainly didn't want to talk about any hockey today because of the big game. And hopefully we'll get into hockey next week, and we'll start doing that more in depth every Friday. So let's move on to the Super Bowl, and got some info for you right here. It's the Chiefs at the Buccaneers. It's the first time a team has had a home game for the Super Bowl, and the Bucs are 3-point underdogs. The over/under, the total is 56. And in parentheses, my model has the Chiefs as 1.35 point favorites, and the total at 56.38. So you can see that's right on. I have a feeling that this game is not going to be as close as the last time they played. I feel like one of these teams is going to win by 6 or 7 points. That's just my feeling for the game. It's Narrative Street. I don't have any hard, cold numbers to back that up at the moment. The line has moved from 3.5 to 3, so enough money has come in on the Buccaneers to move it down to 3. 90% chance of precipitation in this game. Does that mean that there will be significant rain? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, it could be just some sprinkles. It could be just for a short period of time. But it is going to rain on game day in Tampa Bay. Previous meeting in November, Kansas City won 27-24 in the same stadium. Kansas City was a 3.5 point favorite, and they did not cover, obviously winning only by 3. But it was a pretty. There was a lot of yardage in that game. These are the top 2 ranked passing teams in the NFL in terms of yardage, so you can expect, obviously, a lot of passing. If you look at the defensive side of the ball, Kansas City, I think Tampa Bay in the playoffs has had a much better defense overall, but Kansas City, based on the entire season as a whole, is statistically a much better defense. But then again, we'll talk about injuries in a minute, and Tampa Bay seems to be the healthier team. You see, I have it written the Chiefs are the more injured team. And let's just take a quick look at the injuries. I'm going to put these up on the screen. And I want to point out that there's 3 players to me that are significant for the Kansas City Chiefs. Kilgore and Darrell Robinson are out for COVID reasons, and Robinson being basically the 3rd to 4th wide receiver in the mix, had 48 catches on the season. Kilgore, obviously, if this was a regular season game, having the center out, the starting center out for the game, with the backup center only having a couple days to practice, would be an issue. But because they've had 2 weeks to prep for this game, I think it is not going to be as big of an issue. And then Willie Gay, one of the linebackers, has had surgery and will not be available for the Super Bowl for Kansas City. On the Tampa Bay side, pretty much everybody is probable that you were worried if they were going to play or not. Antonio Brown's going to play. Ronald Jones is going to play. They have their full complement of wide receivers. So it is looking like they're peaking at the right time. The defense has improved over the season. It seems like they have their full complement of offensive weapons. So Tampa Bay, coming off 3 straight playoff road wins, seems to be a team to be reckoned with. However, they do have their stiffest challenge. Obviously, Kansas City, by almost every metric, the best team in the league. Obviously, by record, by offense, and statistically, like I said, a better defense than the Bucs. Chiefs are 8-10 on the year against the spread. Now that's just a trend, and there's no statistical analysis behind that. Just pointing out that the Chiefs obviously were heavy favorites all year long, and I think they lost in the regular season to the Denver Broncos. I forgot who else they lost to. But 8-10 against the spread is not that impressive. If you remember, in the first half of the season, the Chiefs were basically 8, 9, 10-point favorites against anybody. And then against a very poor team, they'd be like 14 to 17-point favorites. Not much to put into that. I just wanted to point that out, that they are losing team against the spread. And then, obviously, turn that around, the Chiefs are 8-0 on the road. So they haven't lost a game on the road all year. Well, it's been a COVID year. Road games haven't really been very intimidating for most players, for most teams. So to be honest with you, I really don't know what the crowd situation is going to be. I don't think Florida has restrictions on crowd sizes, but there's a good possibility that the league has mandated some type of social distancing, some type of attendance limits. I don't know. I really don't. But should not have a big impact on the game. So now that we've covered the basics, let's look at some wagers on the game that do not directly affect just picking the winner. But this one is pretty correlated. MVP odds. And I want to say that anybody that's not on this screen right now is 25-1 or higher, which if you believe is a good value, then that might be a pick for you. But I might have very strong feelings on this, as I'll explain. You can see Mahomes is just a little less than even money, minus 106. So it's kind of like Mahomes versus the field. Brady is plus 190. Tyreek Hill is plus 1,200, 12-1. Kelsey plus 1,300, 13-1. If you think Tampa Bay is going to win, you need to put your money on Brady. If you think Kansas City is going to win, you need to put your money on Mahomes here. The MVP is a popularity contest. And although Tom Brady doesn't really do many TV commercials, he is a poster boy for the NFL. Mahomes, obviously, the new poster boy for the NFL. He's going to be in every other commercial you see during the Super Bowl. And, Tyreek Hill has been fantastic throughout the playoffs and could have 160 yards receiving and a couple of touchdowns. But he has off-the-field issues. Not a player that the NFL would want to see get this award. And Antonio Brown on the other side, he could have a big game. He could finally be 100% healthy and be the big receiver as the other receivers become decoys. But once again, off-the-field issues. The only scenario I can see where one of the quarterbacks does not win the MVP is if there are defensive touchdowns. Defensive players have won the MVP before. Like I could see like Tyrone Matthew return one for a touchdown and maybe have 2 picks or a couple of sacks on top and win, or one of the defensive players for Tampa Bay if they shut down Mahomes or they pick Mahomes off 3 times, which would be a huge feat. But barring defensive scores, this is going to go to one of the quarterbacks. And I actually think that this is a great hedge. If you want to bet the spread on the game, if you want to bet Tampa Bay, money line or Tampa Bay plus 3.5 or Kansas City minus 3.5 or minus 3, and you're worried about them covering, well, you can also bet on Mahomes to win the MVP because if Kansas City wins, Mahomes is very likely to win the MVP. And like I said, popularity contest, not based upon actual impact to the game often. So moving on from MVP odds, we've got some game props. And here's 2 that I talked about last week. And I love the punt prop. It's the easiest one to figure out. In my opinion, and the Kansas City and Tampa Bay combined punted 107 times this season. Divide by the 16 games, and you've got basically 7 punts a game. And the over/under 6.5, and the over is plus 115. So that's like getting a coin flip. I mean, it's like 6.9 punts per game, so it's basically about 7 punts per game. It's like if you were getting plus 115 on heads or tails on the coin toss, you would always take the plus 115. That seems to be a very easy wager to make for me, and that's value because you're getting better odds than the sportsbook should be offering. Shortest field goal made over under 27.5 minus 106 on the over. This basically that means the shortest field goal would be the shortest made field goal would be attempted beyond the 10-yard line. If it was an 11-yard field goal, it'd be a 28-yard attempt. So I really feel that these teams will go for it inside the 10-yard line. And I feel like they both have excellent red zone offenses. I don't have any stats to back that up at the moment. But they have, obviously, with Evans and Brate and Gronkowski, Tampa Bay has 3 very tall wide receivers. It'll be very difficult to defend in the red zone. And, what can you say about Kansas City? They've been so explosive. They've been able to run the ball inside the 10-yard line. I don't really see that many short field goals at all here. I don't see a team going to kick a field goal unless the game is on the line. So I like that. Not great odds, minus 106, not bad odds, but I like that wager. We'll see if it makes my list. Okay. Let's move on to some player props. Rushing yards and quarterback rushing yards is one of my favorite props, and I have both Brady and Mahomes here on this list. Brady over under one half a rushing yard. Over is plus 140, and I love this because of two things. Number one, a Brady quarterback sneak is almost guaranteed to happen at some point during this game, and that will give you the 1 yard that you need. And then you're going to say to me, but John, what happens when he's in victory formation and he gets minus 1 rushing yards on the kneel down? Good point. If you think the Chiefs are going to win, you should bet this Brady over because he won't be doing any kneeling. If the Chiefs are ahead and Tampa Bay is behind, he won't be doing any kneeling. He'll be throwing the ball, and he won't be doing much rushing outside of a quarterback sneak. I had Nick Foles over 0.5 rushing yards when Philly won the Super Bowl, and he never ran. They executed everything so perfectly that day that he didn't. He even had a couple of chances to scramble for big yards, and he didn't. But Brady, they'll have a 4th and 1, or they'll have a quarterback sneak at the goal line. He'll get credited for that 1 yard. I think that at those odds, it's a good play there. Mahomes over under 19.5 rushing yards. Under is plus 125. And I believe that the under is the play here. He has that toe issue, which officially he's not on the injury report for anymore. But it's pretty obvious from the last 2 games that he is not 100% on his foot. And I'm not saying that he couldn't rush for some yards here, but also he will most likely be the one kneeling at the end of the game. So I like both of those props, the under on Mahomes and the over on Brady. If you got just one of those two, you'd come out ahead profitable. And then Darrell Williams, who played a lot in the conference championship game with Hilaire and Le'Veon Bell, not 100%. Over under 30.5 yards. Excuse me. Over 30.5 plus 108. If Hilaire is 100%, he may get a lot of the work. But in the second half, if the Chiefs are ahead by a significant margin, look for Williams to get a lot of touches. And if the weather does turn, I feel like the rushing yards, most of the rushing yard props over will be good plays. Some of those rushing props they're all really low if you look at them. I'm not going to go through every one, but those are the ones I like the best. And I've got a few more player props here. We've got receptions. Fournette over under 3.5 receptions. Under 3.5 is plus 135. He dropped a few balls over the last couple of weeks. Would not be surprised to see that again. Once again, weather could be a factor. If the rain is significant, catching balls. I have mixed feelings about this. If Tampa Bay ends up behind in this game and they're throwing the ball in the second half, Fournette could catch some garbage time catches and lose that prop. But those are pretty juicy odds. They have their full complement of wide receivers. He's definitely going to be a secondary target, and I'm not sold on him getting 4 catches. Receiving yards, Evans over under 63.5. The over is plus 100. Evans is the most likely to catch a deep ball. He could get this in 1 or 2 plays. I would be surprised if he got, once again, you're talking about getting some garbage time receptions. I would be surprised if he got 7 catches in this game. But he has, I believe he has the most over 20-yard receptions per game or whatever on the Tampa Bay team. So assuming he's healthy, I think the 63.5 is very doable. I think Brady's going to be throwing a lot in the second half. I do like that one. Wish it would pay better. I think I would rather take the risk on Fournette under. So that's pretty much it. I think that Andy Reid is the better coach. Tampa Bay has definitely played better over the last 3 weeks. I'm hoping it'll be a close, exciting game. It's been a few years since we've had a really bad blowout. Last year was, was it 31-20, I think? So, but I think the Chiefs are the cream of the crop. They're the team to beat. And let's get to it. My picks. The line's 3, but I'm going to take the Chiefs minus 3.5 at plus 105. I think this game's going to be won by 6.7 points. They're just the ability for the Chiefs to score a touchdown whenever they need one is just, it's better than any other team in the league. I'm going to take Mahomes MVP at minus 106. If you think the Chiefs are going to win, there's nobody else they'd rather give it to than Pat Mahomes. You could have Harrison Butker kick a 60-yard field goal to win the game on the last second, and they'd still give it to Mahomes for putting them in that position. So I think that's a no-brainer. I like the over 6.5 punts at plus 115. That, like I said, is simple math, and you're getting much better odds than the sportsbook should be giving you. Brady over 0.5 rushing yards, plus 140. Mahomes under 19.5 rushing yards, plus 125. Hopefully one of those hits and we make a little profit on the two wagers overall. So we'll see how everything pans out. You know that I have horrible history in championship games. You just look back at the Alabama-Ohio State game. I didn't hedge when I should have hedged. I've had rather poor luck picking Super Bowl winners over the last 5 years, but I did pick the Chiefs last year correctly. So hope everybody has a good time this weekend. Enjoy the game. We've had a lot of bad weather here in New York in the Finger Lakes, but it's lightened up this weekend before we get our next blast of winter. I hope you're safe. I hope you're happy wherever you are, and thank you for tuning in. And next week we'll get started on a new sport. We're going to have hockey and try to gear up some college basketball stuff. And when in that time between football now and next football season, we're going to have some interviews and some more book reviews and lots of neat stuff, I hope, and coming up soon. So, all right, let's play the outro music for you. Let's go. Get your chips ready. We'll see you next time.